Hey guys, we are back, and today I want to introduce you to the concept of reparenting. And why do you want to do that? I want to do that because the two previous videos where I was teaching or introducing you to concepts of the inner child and the inner teen. And when I say I'm introducing you, I'm not saying I'm introducing you because you don't know it, but I'm introducing it as the channel, as me teaching this concept. But if you haven't heard of the inner teen, I did get an inbox from someone saying, I've never heard of the inner teen. Yes, it is very much overlooked. We focus on the inner child and we lump it up with the inner teen. And teenagehood is a distinct period in your life as a human being, right? Childhood is very distinct from 0 to 10 or 0 to 9, depending on who you ask. It's a very distinct period in one's life. And the teens, which is why they are a the teens are a very interesting time. So they have a different temperament, temperature, texture, uh, ca character. A teen is definitely not someone who is 8 years old. And so they live imprints, they leave aspects of themselves in your life as an adult. You'll be sitting here like me at 49, and yet there are situations or things or people or events that bring out the inner child in me or the inner teen in me. It's very specific way of responding to certain things. And if you have not watched the two videos, please watch them. They're very basic and introductory. If you want more and in-depth teachings, you can join my community on Patreon. I do some deep dives on a lot of topics. There's a lot of content there that you can indulge in. For YouTube purposes, it's really just introductory and just to teach and to give you enough for you to understand these concepts. And if you want more, then you can always just join me on Patreon. So what on earth is reparenting, and why are we talking about it, and where does the concept come from? That's what I want to take you through. And when do you know that you need to be reparenting, to reparent yourself? And this one is very tricky for me because it's I am a firm believer of self-coaching. I am a firm believer that you can heal yourself with enough content all over the world, all over the internet, on YouTube, on Google Books. If you are intentional and you really do want to heal certain aspects of who you are, yes, you can. You can follow, you can journal prompt, you can do all sorts of things, right? But with reparenting, I always feel like you at least need a coach, even if you don't need them for too long, so they can just take you through how this works, how the reparenting process actually work, and leave you with enough tools for you to do it on yourself by yourself. And I'm in no way saying you can't do it on your own, but I would encourage that you get a therapist to help you with these things, especially if you know that you have tons and tons of inner child issues, tons and tons of inner teen issues, because you can have both. Obviously, you can have both. You've been a child and you've been a teenager. So there's aspects that make you bring out the inner child. Maybe in relationship spaces, the inner child comes up. And at work or in social settings, the inner teen comes up. Or sometimes it's vice versa. So this one, I recommend that you get a coach. Yes, I am available, of course, to help you along with this, but you can get whoever that you trust, whoever that you know, and you find them credible, and you go and you like, I think I have inner child issues. I need tools and ways to help myself reparent. Okay, so with that, let me take you through what this concept is, where it comes from, and I'm going to be looking at my notes. Let me wear some glasses. My God, my eyes are getting bad by the day. So, reparenting, what is reparenting? Like the term says, reparenting is the act of consciously and intentionally meeting the unmet needs that you feel you did not get as a child. It is when you literally become the parent that you needed. You do that to yourself for the inner child or the inner teen, right? Instead of expecting the whole world or your partner or your friend or your children or anyone around you to do the parenting. When you act out the inner child, you when you recognize that, wait a minute, as a child, I was often abandoned, my emotions were not recognized, or my needs were not met, or whatever it is. And this one is very hard to generalize because there's so many scenarios, but you will know what I'm talking about. As a child, there were needs that you needed desperately, or maybe you were forced to share with your younger sibling and you feel like you can't have things for yourself, or perhaps you were rejected for some one thing or the other. You know, we live in a culture that is very steeped in colorism. Maybe you were of a darker hue and you often felt rejected, although that is not just in a child, it's also it's deep, it's core, because it's talking to your identity as a human being. Story video for another day. But all the things that you feel a parent, a caregiver could have offered you as a child, if you know in your heart of hearts that you did not receive that, you then need to reparent. You need to recognize what they are and then get into a reparenting process. And I'll take you through what that process is towards the end of the video. Same as a teen, in your teenage, in your adolescence era, if you feel that there are certain needs that were never met, there are certain things that brought about a lot of shame, that brought about a lot of guilt, that brought about a lot of you not trusting yourself, you probably having to force yourself to fit in to groups you did not want to even fit into because your own identity made you feel some type of way, you need to reparent that teen and remind the inner teen that, wait a minute, Nana, we are 38 years old now. We are no longer on the playground. This is not happening right now. I'm sitting at my desk and I'm recording a YouTube video. You literally have to talk to yourself like that, which brings me to the process. What is the process of reparenting? And remember what I said. The process of reparenting, what I'm going to say now is very generic. If you need help with reparenting, if you know that you need to deal with an inner child, if you are Tsepo from Married at First Sight, who definitely needs to reparent that inner teen of his and the inner child, I think he's got a lot of those. You definitely need to have a coach so they can help you along and leave you with tools that are strong, that are consistent, that you can then use them on yourself, eventually managing to calm the child down so that you appear and you show up as a full-on adult, you know. In fact, the whole thing of reparenting came up by a man, a guy called Eric Berne. Eric Berne. Yes, Eric Berne, who founded transactional analysis, which is a psychological theory. I mean, Eric is the one who came up with the three concepts that within each and every one of us, there is the child, the parent, and the adult. There's always the voice of the child, the voice of the parent, and the voice of the adult. You'll recognize that the parent is not necessarily the adult. You know, it gets very interesting. So the adult self, maybe I can do a video, you know, maybe I can do a separate video, although it might be short, on what it then is the adult. When are you a full-on adult and responding in an adult way? Because the parent way is very different. Depends if the parent is critical or the parent is enabling. And then obviously the child, you know what the child is. And then there's also now the adult. So Eric brought that concept to the world of psychology, that in every single one of us, there's always those three dynamics happening. So yeah, because reparenting is conscious, guys, it's a conscious act. It therefore means that you need to consciously be aware of yourself. You need to always be in touch with your emotions, in touch with your body, in touch with your psyche, in touch with whatever is happening around you and how it affects you. This thing of being happy that we are triggered on social media without doing much about it is a bit of a problem. You need to pay attention to what triggers you, particularly in social spaces, particularly in relationships, particularly in spaces where you are called to show up as an adult. and you don't show up as an adult and your mood suddenly changes, your energy shifts, you coil up or you start feeling threatened, or you need to be very, very conscious of your body, of your emotion, which is why I say that this one, I would recommend that you start by getting help from a therapist or a coach so that you know what to look for. The reason I say that is that, sometimes we live in stressed out, traumatized nervous systems and bodies such that we think that's normal. Have you ever met these people who are always who always have an angry energy? Energetically, they're very angry. Energetically, they're very pissed. Energetically, they're very irritated. You know that, this person is, naki fela pelo, naki na le pelo e nyane type of people. That's trauma response, guys. That's not normal. That's not normal. I know we grew up thinking that that's normal. That's actually not normal. You need help to actually get your nervous system to finally just calm down and relax, and you will see how beautiful life can be. So yes, consciousness, be very, very conscious of whatever it is that you are feeling at any given time. Be aware of your body, which is a practice on its own. I know of a lot of people who are very numb from the neck down, very numb. You can't feel your body. And it's usually the first exercise I give everybody, all my clients, because I want to check how in touch they are with their inner body, with their inner emotional body and their physical body, because the physical body is obviously linked to the emotional body. And my goodness, you will be so surprised how many of us are just numb. You're not feeling anything. I mean, sometimes I would get clients who I would give them a meditation, I would give them some journal prompts, I would give them some exercise that will activate the body. And it would take probably 3 or 4 sessions before they could even feel something. But once they start feeling something, oh my word, oh my goodness. And then the work really, really begins. So this is very delicate work of understanding your body, of understanding your nervous system, because sometimes, honestly, you don't know how traumatized you are. You just think that's how you are. Because at our core, we are very, very rested. The physical body and the nervous system at its natural state, it's really sitting at joy. It's joy and awe and enjoying beauty of life. And even those people who always have this energy of anger or this energy of irritability or this energy of sadness, you see people who's just walking around or sad, nje. Yeah, that's they also get sparks of joy from time to time, but that's not the normal state. The fact that or wow, ke beao, nna ke beao, ba ntse ba vele nna ke fela pelo, that's not normal, guys. That needs to be sorted out. That needs to be healed and to be relaxed so that your nervous system and your body can relax so that you can actually experience what true joy is, what peace actually is. Okay, now the process or the attributes, what does it take to what do we mean by reparent? What should you do? What is the process of it in